What's going on, man? It's your boy Butler, man. It's the best day of my life tomorrow. It's not a promise. Going to do your little dance, but they still playing your song. So now, today, looks like it says, bro, the police gets kidnapped and shoot while trapped inside suspect's getaway car. Let's go to ABC for the news report.
The car! Stop the car! Stop the car! I will shoot you!
A California police officer kidnapped. His body cam capturing his wild confrontation with a speeding driver who refuses to stop.
You're gonna kill us, bro! You need to stop! Hey, stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the...
What?
But that fleeing driver refuses to stop. It all began a few minutes earlier with an alarm at a grocery store. A crew of thieves caught on surveillance camera backing an SUV into the store's front doors and shattering the glass. Two people then running inside. Just minutes later, Antioch police officers arrive and try to block that SUV from escaping.
Right.
One of the officers opens the passenger side door, confronting the driver. That driver hits reverse, knocking the officer inside the SUV. That's when the driver puts it in drive and hits the gas, making his escape with that Antioch police officer in his passenger seat. This is dashcam video from the police car that was hit and shoved out of the way.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
How you gonna run with the police?
Back inside that fleeing SUV, the officer now threatening to shoot the driver if he won't stop.
I'm warning you, I will shoot your leg! Stop! Stop the car! Stop the car! No! Stop! I will shoot you!
Moments later, the driver hits a parked car and jumps out of the SUV, taking off on foot.
Z5, shots fired!
That officer finally able to get out of the vehicle, and he begins searching for the wounded driver in a local neighborhood. More officers quickly swarming the scene and finding the driver's hiding place in some bushes and taking him into custody.
Yo, hands up! Keep your hands up! Do not move them until I tell you to! Do not move them until I tell you to!
There at the end, you heard the driver screaming, he shot me," as he was being arrested. Paramedics taking that driver, identified as 23-year-old Dominic D'Souza, to a local hospital for treatment of a bullet wound to the
Stop!
That's crazy. I think that he's supposed to shot. Look, I'm all for rehabilitation. But soon as he was in the car with him and he took off, he's supposed to shot him. That man could have killed both of y'all in there, bro. That's crazy. What y'all think? Yeah, he's supposed to shot him a long time ago.
Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the car! I will shoot you!
Later, Antioch police officers arrive and try to block that SUV from escaping. One of the officers opens the passenger side door, confronting the driver. That driver hits reverse, knocking the officer inside the SUV. That's when the driver puts it in drive and hits the gas, making his escape with an Antioch police officer in his passenger seat. This is dashcam video from the police car that was hit and shoved out of the way.
This is where he's supposed to shot him at, right here. I'm sorry. That's what's supposed to happen. So I'm going to slide into this story right here, y'all, because it looks like it might be interesting as well.
Well, this isn't a story you hear about every day, and it's only on Fox Report. A longtime Houston defense attorney is punched in the face by this guy, his own client. That client was just told he would have to serve 50 years in prison for murder. Ooh. Fox 26's Randy Wallace spoke exclusively to the attorney. John Petruzzi is joining us now live. Randy.
Yeah, Anthony. Now, in his 46 years practicing law, John Petruzzi says he's represented hundreds of murder defendants. But he said what happened yesterday with his court-appointed client was a first for the veteran attorney. On the surface, the PSI hearing in the 178th Judge Kelly Johnson's court was fairly routine. 27-year-old Jacarius Lewis pled guilty to a murder that happened in April of 2024 at 7959 Sunbury. Lewis was facing 5 to 50 years. The state recommended 50 years, and the judge agreed.
The judge pronounce the sentence. And at that point, apparently, now I was out, my client hit me in the face, and people in the courtroom say that I fell back. I was standing, I fell back against a chair, and then I hit a counter and hit the back of my head, and apparently fell on the ground. But I don't remember any of that. And then the next thing I remember is I'm standing in the courtroom, and there's just a ton of people there, bailiffs and paramedics and all kinds of commotion. And then somebody said to me, "John, do you realize that your client just punched you in the face?" And I said, "No, I didn't know that."
What did you think? What was your reaction at that
Well,
point?
I was kind of shocked, really. I mean, I've done this a long time, and I've never had a client hit me before.
I think that he just had frustration. So what you just did was you just added on to those 50 years, but 50 years is a long time, bro. So he probably had in his mind, I'm swinging on somebody if this don't go my way. Damn. More time. You're just gonna get more time, bro.
And you know, I've lasted all these years, and I was shocked.
What was it like that day with Mr. Lewis? I mean, did everything seem kind of normal?
I thought we were getting along okay. I didn't get the impression that he was ready to hit me or anything. No, and he didn't like, you know, threaten me that morning. And but apparently,
With all due respect, he just received 50 years. I've been offered 40 years, but I'll tell you, the temperature changes. It gets a little hotter. Stress becomes a tad bit more identified.
apparently, when he heard the sentence, that kind of, you know, pushed a button. Let's say.
You think?
Lewis is now charged with injury to the elderly. The DA's
Oh,
office
God.
requested that Lewis's bond be set at $100 million.
What bond?
Reporting live the courthouse.
Bro, this hold on. What the fuck are you talking about?
To the elderly. The DA's office requested that Lewis's bond be set at $100 million.
You consider it $50 gazillion trillion. He just got sentenced to 50 years. What county is it? I don't know what. They're in Houston. They're in Texas. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, ain't even going out on no limb. That don't make no sense. He was just sentenced to 50 years. How is he gonna bond out? Shut the.
Reporting live the courthouse, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
All right, we're gonna do one more story, bro. Oh, here we go. Let's do it.
Drama in the courtroom. It was an unusual sentencing hearing in the Miami-Dade Criminal Courthouse today when a convicted killer broke out in laughter while learning he would spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Yeah, the laughter sparked a back and forth between the judge and the defendant.
NBC6 reporter Christian Colon was in there at the courthouse, and he joins us with the story.
A convicted killer smiled and giggled when learning he will spend the rest of his life in prison.
I'm not sure why you're laughing, sir. There's certainly nothing funny.
Yeah, you're amusing, very amusing.
I'm glad you think I am.
The man's name is Marcus Terry, found guilty in December of killing his cellmate, 63-year-old Ray Matos, by stabbing him in the head with a pen.
Mr. Hermish, your client took a pen and jammed it into his cellmate's brain. He shoved a pillowcase into his mouth.
The murder happened inside the Dade Correctional Institute, April of 2021. Terry was already serving a life sentence for an armed robbery out of Broward County. Police say that's when Terry stabbed his cellmate and stuffed a cloth in his mouth.
When the guards came in to find out what was going on, he was standing on top of this man. This man was bloodied and barely breathing.
But as the judge announced the life sentence, the man broke into laughter.
I find nothing amusing about your behavior, nor the death of this gentleman.
Sparking a back and forth with the judge.
God have mercy on your soul.
Terry's attorneys tried to calm him down, but he did not stay silent.
I think that's what you need to be worried about.
Oh,
Marcus.
I think in a situation where you already not going nowhere, what difference do it make? If I got a life sentence and you give me another life sentence and I wasn't going nowhere, no ways, what are we doing? It's laughable.
Come on.
Oh, Miss Lamar, because you don't know me.
Man, okay, so look, I see a story with this individual. It was a lot going on in that court case because this is the individual. I'm gonna do 4 of these bitches. This individual right here is a suspect. He's gonna take a plea in the murder, if I ain't mistaken.
New developments in a decade-old double murder. A man accused of killing a Miami Gardens minister and her grandson back in 2013 now took a plea deal. Local 10's Christian De La Rosa is live in Miami with some details on this.
Chrissy, there are so many reasons why this case went on for 13 long years, one of them being COVID. But today, you said it, this plea deal, prosecutors speaking on behalf of the victims' loved ones saying this plea deal closes this chapter, but the book on the tragedy will forever remain open. Now convicted murderer Reginald Jackson smiling and pointing at his loved ones in the courtroom. Moments before taking the plea deal he put in jeopardy just a week ago.
She's been racist towards me. She's always been biased in this courtroom towards me, bro.
His attorney, seen here trying to calm him down, explained.
Mr. Jackson wanted his family in the courtroom. They were unable to be there.
Wednesday, with his family present, Jackson and co-defendant Roderick Martin pled guilty to the 2013 shooting death of Miami Gardens church minister, 70-year-old Annette Anderson, and her grandson, 20-year-old Tyrone Walker Jr. Investigators say they were murdered execution style inside Anderson's home. The two pled guilty to the murders and all other charges, including burglary and kidnapping. In exchange, Jackson was sentenced to 40 years in state prison, Martin to 25. Prosecutors say it's not what they hoped for, but the victims' loved ones wanted the 13-year-long legal saga over.
What we don't know is why.
The judge pressing the defendants to finally reveal their motive. They stayed silent.
You posed that question to Mr. Jackson, and Mr. Jackson never gave you a motive?
Mr. De La Rosa, it's difficult to pose any questions as a defense lawyer to a defendant, and many times you don't know. I mean, because you don't really want to be in a position as defense counsel to have your client confess to you.
The victims' families, which will...
At 6, after 13 long years, the chapter is closed on a double murder of a Miami Gardens minister and her grandson. The two now convicted killers appeared before a judge and took a plea deal. CBS News Miami's Nakaya Carrero is your reporter in Miami with what happened in court.
Today, the two men stood in a courtroom filled with their family members as the judge sentenced them to a combined 65 years.
Mr. Jackson, you're pleading guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder with a firearm, along with 2 counts of robbery with a firearm or deadly weapon.
Yes or no?
Reginald Jackson and his co-defendant Roderick Martin pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of second-degree murder for the July 2013 double murder of Miami Gardens minister, 70-year-old Annette Anderson, and her 20-year-old grandson, Tyrone Walker Jr.
So you're pleading guilty to these charges because you are guilty of these charges?
Yeah.
The pair were expected to accept a plea deal last week, but it was delayed after Jackson had an outburst in court after his family were misinformed about the time, almost sending the pair to trial.
I ready for my mom to see me in trial, so I can see her the last time, bro. See, when my grandma came to the hearing, grandma came, guess what? She died 3 months later.
A week later, Jackson agreed to a sentence of 40 years in state prison. He has to serve a mandatory minimum of 20 years. He has already been in custody for almost 13 years. The judge shared the details about the victims, a pastor and a student. According to the judge, prior to their deaths, the grandmother was cooking dinner and still had food in the oven when their bodies were found 3 days later.
What we know is that Miss Anderson and Mr. Walker were hogtied and shot in the back of the head and left for dead while on their knees
As for Martin, he accepted a plea of a 25-year sentence in a state prison with a mandatory minimum of 10 years. He has already been in custody for almost 11 years. The judge asked both men why did they kill the pastor and her grandson. They both refused to answer. She responded to them, of course not. In Miami, Nikaya Carrero, CBS News.
All right, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about these different stories. I wasn't planning on doing several stories in a row, but it's easy. So I might keep doing them. It depends on what kind of response I get. I'm out, man.